Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript website. So I built it around the sofa niche, but you can have it around any niche you want. So it's a very simple site, actually, with some animations. For example, you see that there is some kind of fading animation here for this section. And so you have this our mission and with a fixed background. When you scroll, you can see that it doesn't move. Yeah, and then you have a contact us page, typically where you can send messages with your name, email, and this form is actually I can say validated, where you can't send your details without actually putting them. So you can send any message without putting your details. And you have here this animation. It's like a down arrow, and once I click this arrow, so it's going to navigate to the next section. So you have as well the about page, right, with some demi text here, and let's say with some pictures of people. We can say this is the team behind this business, and we have a login page, right, with email and password, and the login. It's not implemented, but yeah, so it's kind of, we can say, validated here. So you need to have an email and a password if you want to log in. So there is no backend, but it's just the front end. So as well, if we inspect and we switch to the mobile view, and so we can go to the home page about, right? And once we, let's say, switch to the mobile view, so we see this is actually the navigation we are having here for the home and for the other pages, right? So this is just to help you if you are getting started with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, to help you have a nice site, a nice basic site you can show, you can showcase, or you can train yourself with, right? So it's built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, as well as some concepts like keyframes for this animation. And we are going to use an external library as well to have this fading animation for this section. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first step is, of course, to create our folder. So I'm just going to create a new folder here and call it, can call it sofa. I'm going to call it sofa. And I'm going to open it with VS Code. So I'm just going to drag and drop it. So with my VS Code, you can use any extension you want. I mean, any code editor you want, but I'm using VS Code because it's easier to work with. Let's create our index HTML file, and I'm going to use this emmet abbreviation to have the boilerplate for HTML, and we'll have the title here, say sofa biz, like sofa business. We need as well to have our style sheet. So let's create here style.css, and we link it to our index file. Let's say link. So we say relationship style sheet, and the href is, so the styles.css. We need as well to have font awesome here. So this is just for the icons, and I'm going to use the CDN. For the CDN, head over to cdnjs.com and look for the font awesome. So I'm going to take the last version. So copy the link tag and back to our code. We can paste it. Make sure you paste it. So make sure you paste it before the style sheet, the style sheet. And in our body, so this is where we'll have the different parts. So the first one is our outer navigation. And in this outer navigation, so that's where we'll have a div. So outer navigation, right? So it's a shortcut. With a dot means you'll create a div with this class. And we'll have within this, so the nav content. So nav content. And within the nav content, we'll have now our nav with the class of navigation. Let's give it a role of navigation. And we'll have a UL. So with the class of left navigation. And we need to have, so li twice, like this. I'm using Emmet, which comes by default with VS Code. We can do the same. And so if you are new into programming, Emmet is just a way to write code faster, right? For example, I can have li twice by just saying li twice like this. It's going to understand that I want it twice. Within this li, so at least I have an a with the href. That's going to the home. So home. And we need to have another one here. So href. It's going to be about.html. So we need to create that page. So about us. And we have the left navigation. Let's create the about.html from now. You don't need to put anything, just let's create it. And down here, below this list, we have our div. So the right navigation. It's a div, and within that right navigation, so we have a link. So href is going to be login.html. So let's say login.html, create the page, and we have here for login. This is the navigation. Now below the navigation, we'll have another div. So we call it main title container. So we have here the main title, which is an h1, and class main title, and we call it the best so far as on the market. And below this, we have a button that says explore. Okay, we won't have any functionality, of course, because it's more focused on building the actual site. And below this main title container, so we'll have our arrow down. So this arrow down is an icon. So we need to have a div, and within this div, it's an icon. It's a class of fa solid. So this is coming from the font awesome. If I give it a class of fa solid, it means I want it to be solid, so I want to be visible. Fa angle down means the icon angle down, and we give it a class arrow down navigation. So let's give it an ID as well. So scroll icon. Okay. These two classes are going to give me, these three classes, I mean, will give me the down arrow icon. Okay. Now we will build the mobile navigation, but after we actually build the visible part, right? So let's say the desktop site. So below this now navigation, that's where we'll have our, let's say, the content, right? But before that, let's make sure that we can actually run this and see what we are having. So to run it, so we need to have in our extension here, you can search for live server, this one, and then install it. Once you install it, come back to this file, right click and open with live server. It's that easy. So we have the content, we need to start it with our CSS. Back to the CSS file. So the HTML, we'll give it a scroll behavior of smooth, and let's import here our font styles, font family. So our font, let's just say our fonts. So we'll use Roboto and we'll use domain. So we need to have the fonts available and from Google Fonts. Right, so Google Fonts is a library that allows you to use fonts, okay, free fonts. And one we have is Roboto. So let's take the 400 regular, okay, and we can have the bold 700. Okay, so we need the import. You can use the import, you can use the link. So let's use the import. Let's put it here. And for the headings, right, we can have a different style. So back to the Google font, let's search for domain. So this one, I chose this one. You can choose whatever you want. So let's say regular 400 for domain and bold 700. So copy it and let's paste it here. Right, so now we have, this one is for the headings, this one is for the paragraph and everything else. And for the body, let's say body now, you can have a font family, Roboto, which is this one. And we can have sans serif, right? Say margin 0, padding 0. And let's say position relative because we'll need that. Now for H1, H2, H3, H4, and H5, H6. So we can have font family of domain and serif. It comes with serif, right? Let's create as well custom classes. One is text center. This is just going to be text align center, and then we can append this one to our content for the items we want to center. Now for the navigation, so let's add here some comments and say for the outer navigation. So the background image is a linear gradient. So we can say RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.3. This is going to create like a gradient for us. So RGBA, another one 0, 0, 0, 0.2. And the URL. So the URL here, we'll use Unsplash. Make sure you go to unsplash.com and you can grab whatever image link you want, right? I'm going to paste mine here. So let's put here as the height. So the height of the auto navigation is 100 view height. So the background size is cover. So we'll have the background image. Background position, you can say center. So padding 0, right? Say margin 0 and padding top. This is for the navigation. 20 pixels actually. Right, so let's see what we have now. So if you refresh, so we see it doesn't. Let's see what we have. So we are having some issue here. You see, we have a typo probably. Yeah, so we need to have here a comma to allow that. Right. So now we have the background image. Okay. So it's covered. And why I chose this image, because it arranges with the text. So the text will be on the right side, and you have some space here for the text. That's why I chose this one. You can find it on Unsplash, and you can just type sofa. Okay, search for sofa. You will see it. All right. So the next thing is to place this text at this here, and to arrange the navigation. Now back to our code. So we create here nav content. So we say max width 1500 pixels. So margin 0 auto, and position is relative. We can give it as well a height of 100 view height, right? Now the navigation itself, you say display flex. So this is the navigation. Justify content, space between, and align item center. I'll show you in a bit why we are having this. So now you see that we have here on the left side home and about us, and on the right side the login. So this is because we have the flex. The flex allows us to flex items horizontally and put some space between them. So now we can say here navigation, a hover, say color light blue, and let's look at the right navigation. So for the right navigation, let's say flex is 0.5, text align right, so you'll align it on the right side, and padding right 30 pixels. Now you say right navigation, the login link now, which is the login link actually. So background, you can say white. So of, let's say display inline block, padding 10 pixels, 30 pixels, give it some padding. Text decoration, we say none. To remove the text decoration, color is gray, and the text transform is uppercase. Say font weight bold, and text align center. So let's remove this background white. I don't need it. Okay. So it should change. It's not changing. Let's see why. So right navigation. So let's give this a class of login link. So class login link. Right. So now we have this one. Should be white. Let's make it white. Now let's look at the left navigation. So let's just say navigation or left navigation, UL. So if you look at the index, we have the navigation. So we can just select navigation and list style, right? We say none. Display, we say flex. Justify content, you can say space evenly, and flex 0.5. So flex is very useful here. Flex means simply how much space it will take, right? So 0.5, so 50% of the available space. And let's see, we have left navigation. Yeah, we have a typo here. And as we can see, right? So let's target the left navigation, A, right? Text decoration, let's say none. Color, say white. Text transform, we say uppercase, and the font weight is bold, right? Like this. And now we have, right, the styles here. Now for the hero container, so we need to target, right? So we need to move this text here. We need as well this small down arrow here. We put it here, right? So at the bottom, centered as well. Let's say here, hero styles. So the hero, say hero container, height is 300 pixels. The position is absolute. So the position absolute allows us to move this, right, whenever we want. So I mean, wherever we want here. And we have a parent that is relative, which is we have the nav content, right, which is a parent of this hero container. So we can move it around. Okay. So it's absolute, and we can say the top now. We can move 50% from the top, and the right will have 30 pixels from the right. Okay. Let's see. So we have hero container. Let's make sure we have. Actually, we don't have a hero container. We have the main title container, right? So back to here, we can say main title container. And here the font size, let's remove this. We can say font size is 2.2 rem. The color is white. So the max width is 500 pixels. We can say float. We need float. Yeah, we need to say float right here. Add it on the right side, position relative now. Actually, it's absolute. So we can move it around. Top, let's say 30%. The right is 40 pixels. And margin left is 20 pixels. And that way we can move it, right? So at this place, at this space. So the button we can add here. So the main title container, right? And target the button. So the background color can have it as, so 8, 6, so 7409. The color is white. The border is, you can say none, no border. Font size 2 rem, and let's add the margin. So we say margin is actually padding is 10 pixels, 20 pixels, right? See, so main title container. Let's not forget the typo. All right, so now we have our hero, and we can now target this arrow here. Okay, this small arrow here. So the way we do this is by saying arrow down navigation. The color is white. Font size is 2 rem. Position is absolute. Margin left, we can say is auto. The same for margin right, auto. We can say left 0, right 0. Text align center, and the cursor is pointer. Okay. We have arrow down navigation. Let's make sure that it's the same. Arrow down navigation. Yeah, so we have it here, right? Yeah, but we need to move it at the bottom. So to do that, we need to create here a keyframes. It's like an animation. So you say keyframes, and we give it a name, whatever name. So I'm going to choose move up, down, right? And we say 0%. So the animation is from 0% to 100%. So from 0% and from 100%. So we want it to be at the bottom and 50% from the bottom. 50 pixels, I mean, and at 50% of the animation. So we want it to be a bit higher. So 70 pixels. And that way we'll see that it's going to move up and down if you give it this animation. So animation is move up and down, up, down. So 2.5 seconds, which is the animation duration, is in, out, and infinite, right? So this way it won't stop, and it will still continue animating, right? So now you have a nice hero section. And let's not forget to add some hover effect. We can say arrow down navigation, hover. The color is light blue, and the cursor is pointer. Actually, we don't need that. So we can just have it light blue like this. All right. So that's it for the hero section. And in the next section, we'll build the what's below this hero section. We can now deal with what's the actual content. So back to our code. So here, so we'll add our main. So we can say here main tag here, and within this main, so we have our first sofa row. So we can call it sofa row, and we'll have an image container like this within the image. So we'll have an image as well. And the source is going to be any image you want. I'm just going to put here an image from Unsplash, right? And then we can have a sofa here. Below this image container, so we'll have our text container. So text container, and h2, actually h2, that says comfort whenever you are, and we'll have a paragraph with some long text. So that's the actual row, right? So we should have a row. Now we need to put this image on the same row as the text. So the text should actually be in this area. And it's actually simple. So in our styled CSS, we can target the sofa row, give it a display of flex, justify content. We can say space between with a max width of 1500 pixels, a margin of 0 auto, and a flex wrap of wrap, right? So now the sofa row img container can give it a width of 50%. Now the sofa row img, so img container, the image itself, let's give it a width of 100%. Then give it a height of 300 pixels with some object width cover. Now the sofa row text container, so we can give it a width of 50% as well. Text align, say center. Display, we say flex. Align items, we can say center. Flex direction, column. And justify content, you can say center. Now for the h2, so sofa row text container, the heading 2. So font size, 30 pixels. And now we should have, right, our row placed like this. Now the same thing, but we'll reverse. So we'll add another row. Let's just copy this and put it like this. Now instead of having the image above, we'll just have it below this. So now we'll have our two contents like this. Let's build a mission. So our mission, say our mission, and we'll just have an h2 here, give it some class. So text center. Text center is already a class we had here, so it will just align the text. So text center, and we say our mission, and we'll have some paragraph with some lorem text. And down below, so we have a button that says learn more. Okay, let's capitalize it. Okay, let's now have style this our mission. So we can have here our mission. So we say our dash mission. So background image will have a linear gradient of RGBA. So let's remove this 000 as before, RGBA 0.5, and the URL will be an image. Actually, I'm going to take another image, and let's say the background attachment is fixed, background position, so center 10 pixels. The min height is 500 pixels. The color is white. The background repeat, you can say no repeat. The background size is cover, and we say display flex. We'll actually align it vertically, so we say flex direction column, line items center, justify content center, and the padding is 0 and 40 pixels. And now, okay, let's see if you didn't forget anything. So we have our mission. So our mission. Inspect that. So we have a typo here. Let's refresh. We need to close this here and then remove this one. Okay. Yeah, so we have our mission. Let's style the content. So our mission H2, font size 2 rem. Our mission P, font size 1.5 rem, and the text align is center. And the button, so our mission button, so border is 1 pixel solid white, padding is 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and the background color is transparent, and the color, so we have it white, color is white. Okay. So let's style it a bit more. I will mention the button. When you hover over it, so the background color is white, and the color becomes, you can say, black, and the cursor is pointer, right, like this. So now the next step is to build the, we can add the form, the contact form. So let's say so contact form, it's just a form, and we have an H2 that says contact us. We'll have a label for name, your name, and an input of type text. So the placeholder is your name. Let's make it required, and let's add our BR. tag. So we can copy this label in input, paste it again. This time we'll have email, right? And say your email type is email. So just say it like this. And we can have the message. So we can say for message, and let's add here the ID for name and the ID for email. Now for the message, we have rows, which is 8 rows, and say your message. Let's add the BR tag. And below, we add the text area. So the text area, the ID is message. Shouldn't be there. Rows is 8. Let's make it required. And below, we add our button and say send. So the type is submit. Okay. Let's style the form. Say form. Let's style the div. Say contact form. So the padding, 30 pixels. Background color, we say light blue. Text align center. Now the contact form, the form within that. So the width is 100%. Actually, max width 600 pixels, and the margin 0 auto. Contact form input. So the width is 100%. The height is 30 pixels. Margin top is 10 pixels. And the margin bottom is 10 pixels. The same for the label. Say display is block. Margin bottom is 5 pixels. Margin top is 5 pixels. So contact form text area, width 100%. Contact form button, the padding is 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and the cursor is a pointer. Let's see what we have. So we have our contact us, right? And the last thing for this page, okay, for the content is to add the footer. Now the footer is simple, so we just need to have it below the main. So add the footer as this, add the paragraph that says and copy, and so far fictional website. Right. And let's style it. Footer. Background color is, you can say black. Padding top, 30 pixels. And padding bottom, 30 pixels. And the color is white. And the text align center. All right. So now we should have, so we have our footer. And content wise, so this homepage is ready. right? Now we can add here like a fade in animation. And for that, we need to have a library that's called scroll reveal. Scroll reveal. So you can head over scrollreveal.js.org to see to have an overview of what this is doing. So it's basically revealing your content on scroll, right? And we simply need to copy this, paste it in our index file. So before the closing body, and we need as well a jQuery for that to work. So for jQuery, as with font awesome, so you can just get it from cdn.js. I'm going to copy this script tag and paste it here. So before the scroll reveal, right? And if you go back to the scroll reveal, so we have an example. For example, you have this h1 you want to reveal. So you just need to have this, right? The class target it and then say reveal in your JS. So let's actually, in our index.js, so let's create our function. So index.js. And what do we want to reveal? We want to reveal our sofa row. So sofa row, right? And let's put our index.js like this. Like this. And now you see that it's actually revealing the sofa row, all right? So that's it for the home page. Now the next step is to build the about us and the login page. Let's now deal with the login page. So for the login page, we'll have about the same navigation. So what we'll do is just copy the index page. So from, let's actually have the doc type, and we can have here so far, so login, and we can have the link, right, like this. And as well have the script and the footer. So let's have it like this. Let's put the main here. Now within this main, so we'll have the login container. Actually, we can remove the main. So we just have a login container and a left login and a right login container. So let's copy this right login container. So the left login container will just have an image, so we won't put anything. But for the right login container, we'll have the form and an h2 that says login to your account. So we'll have class text center and a label for the name. So actually it's email. Have our BR tag and an input. The type is email and the placeholder is your email. The ID is email. And let's make it required. Add our BR tag and we do the same for the password. So let's copy this, paste it below and say password. So password, say your password, ID password as well, and an input. So button that says login. I type submit. Like this. Right. So now we have about our login page. We'll come back for the mobile navigation. But let's see. So let's see if you go to the login. So you see it's showing, but the navigation here is not what we want, right? So we need to change the color. So back to our style.css. We can add here the login page styles. And we say login. So what is where is the navigation? We don't have a navigation. Let's add it. Say back to index, copy the navigation. But as you can, like for this one, for the login page, we don't need like a hero section and stuff. So we need to change the way we are having our login page. So within the body, we used to have this, but now we'll simply have, so let's say we don't need the nav content. Let's remove them. Let's remove this. We'll just leave the nav, but we'll add here login navigation. Right. And so we say here login navigation. The background color is black. Login container display is a flex wrap. You can say wrap. Now left login will have an image. So background image URL. Let's just take one of the images we have already. Like this. And the height is calculated. So we will remove 100 view height minus, let's say, 50 pixels for the navigation. And the flex, I can say 0.5. Right. Now the right login container display is flex. Justify content is center. Align items is center. Flex direction is column. And the flex is 0.5. Right. Now the form. So right login container, the form. The margin 0 auto. So right login container input. The width is so between 100% and 500 pixels. So the main function here will evaluate every time what's the minimum between taking the 100% of the page or just 500 pixels. It's very useful for responsive container. So padding is 10 pixels. The margin top is 10 pixels, and the display is block. Font size 15 pixels. 15 pixels. So the same. So right login container, the bottom this time. Padding, you can say 10 pixels, 20 pixels. So the background is transparent. The cursor is pointer. And the border is 1 pixel solid black. Right. Right login container. When we hover over this button, so background color is black. The color is white. And we can now see what we have. So the white container. Let's see. All right, so we need to remove this from repeating. So right login container. Background repeat, no repeat. And there is probably something. Yeah, it's actually 100 view height, not 1000. Let's see. Yeah, it's repeating. So we need to choose a different image. I'm going to have a different image here. Let's change the image. This one, it's a longer image, so it's going to fit the content. All right. So now you have the login page. You can go back to the home page, and from the home back to the login page, and you can see that we have the last part is building the about us page. So let's build it. Let's now build the about page. So we'll do about the same that we do in the login page. Let's copy the doc type. So let's copy the doc type like this and say about, right? And we'll do the same for the body. So let's add a body tag. And we close our HTML. And within the body tag, we'll add our navigation. Like this. We don't need to have, like we did in the about, in the login page, we don't need to have these actually. Yeah, we still need them. So let's copy them, put it here. And now for the content, so we can say instead of login navigation, about us navigation. And after the navigation, so we'll have our main here with an h1. So let's give it a class of text center. So about us, add a paragraph class text center, and let's give it an inline style. We could do this in CSS. I'm just showing you that this is possible as well. 1000 pixels and margin 0 auto. Let's add here semicolon, and we'll have some lorem text, right? Now below this paragraph, we'll add a div and call it cards container. And we'll have cards. So we'll have a card with an image and a name. So H2, John Doe, and some paragraph here, Lorem Ipsum. Right. So for the card, we need to have an image, right? So we are dealing with people here. We can have an image of the person. I'm going to put an image here, again from Unsplash. Let's put the image. And now we can go to our style and style the card. So let's say here, about us page. So cards container, max is 1000 pixels. Let's center it by saying margin 0 auto. Display flex, justify content, space evenly. Flex wrap, you can say wrap. And the card itself, so the width is 280 pixels. Text align, center. The padding bottom is 10 pixels. And the margin is 20 pixels. So let's add some box shadow. So 0, 4 pixels, 8 pixels, 0, RGBA, like this, and the transition 0.3 seconds. Right. And let's copy this box shadow. So when we card hover, this time we'll make it 16 pixels. Just double it, 8 pixels, 16 pixels. Right. Now the image, so card image width is 100%, 8, 250 pixels, object fit, cover. So that's the image, and let's see what we have. So for the about us, so you see that we are having our card here. Now you can have as many cards as you want. I'm going to add two more cards to this one. Right, so I'm having my three images, right? And now for this, let's add the footer. So to add the footer, we just copy this footer from here and paste it in the about page. We can add a footer like this, just paste it, right? And the last part is adding the navigation. We have it already, we just need to style it. So we have here about us navigation, right? And now we have the about us page. right? The last part is the responsive navigation. So for that, we need to have a mobile navigation defined for smaller screens. Because right now, if you look at smaller screens, we see that the navigation is not that optimal, right? So we need to have a mobile menu here. So let's do it. So we create the mobile navigation first for the index page. So we can put it after this icon of mobile navigation, and an icon of class FA solid, FA bars is a UL. So li, so a the home page, and the same for the two other pages. You can have about, this will replace the desktop navigation. Login. So login, and the class of login link, and back to CSS. So we can add a style for mobile navigation. So we say mobile navigation. Display by default is none. Mobile navigation, the icon can say position fixed, top of 20, so top 20 pixels, font size 20 pixels. So can say right is 20 pixels as well. The color is white, and the Z index is 99. So we have mobile navigation, li, list style, let's remove the list style. Mobile navigation UL, the position is fixed. So left, we'll just hide it, okay? So that if it is minus 500 pixels on the left, it means it will go outside the screen, so we won't see it. So the transition now, so we say left 0.3 seconds linear. So this will hide the navigation. So it will put it on the left side of the screen, right? So we won't see it, all right? But once we click, let's say the navigation icon, it will slide from the left, and it will be visible. That's why we are having it this 0.3 seconds. So the height is 100 view height. The background color, the RGBA, let's say 0.7. The width is 100%. So the margin top is 0. Text align center, and the padding 0. So this will be the actual mobile navigation. Right. Now we can say mobile navigation UL, the li, margin top 30 pixels, and the mobile navigation. So you will see the effect of these styles in a bit. So color white, text decoration, say none, font size 20 pixels, and the cursor is a pointer. Right. So now we need to show it, right? So we need to show it in smaller screens and hide this one. So to do that, we need to have major queries. And the major query we will add is, so major screen N, so max width of 400 pixels. The navigation will disappear. So navigation display is none. So H1 will make it smaller. Font size 2.9 rem, and we'll show the mobile navigation. So display block. So display block. Now the outer navigation padding top, say 0. And let's see now. So at 400 pixels, we should see, you see here the icon, right? Let me zoom in. This icon, this will trigger the actual mobile navigation. But you see that the desktop navigation disappeared. That's what we want, and that's what we are having, right? Now let's add some more style. So for the hour mission, padding 30 pixels, and the sofa row text container, adding 10 pixels. Now, when we click this, if we go to, we switch to the mobile view. Once we click this, it should actually show the navigation. It's not doing it because we need to add some JavaScript, right? So our index.js. So we need to say here, const mobile nav document query selector, and we select mobile navigation UL, and we say document query selector. So mobile navigation, the icon, we'll add an event listener. So once we click, so we'll trigger a function that will add a class list show like this. So if it contains the show, for example, we will add this show if it doesn't contain the show to show it. Else we'll remove the show. And then this show will trigger showing or hiding the navigation. So if it is already added, we'll remove it. So remove show, else we'll add it. Okay. Let's put this below. So let's test it out. So now it should add a show to this navigation. So if you, let's see what you have. Click. Make sure that it's seeing it. So clicked, and we have the actual icon. So we have mobile navigation, and we have this icon. Okay, let's refresh. It says clicked, which means it's triggered. So it's targeting, let's see, let's console log mobile nav. Let's click this. And you see it's adding the show. So let's inspect our elements. The mobile navigation, it has an UL, a UL. So you see that it's show. And if I click it again, it removed the show. That's what we need. And now let's add the show. Go back to our style CSS. We can say here, mobile navigation UL show. So say left 0 and top 0. This will bring it from minus 500 pixels outside the screen to be 0 now so that we can see it. So if we click, you see that it's kind of sliding from the left side, right? So now we can uh, see here for the About Us page, don't have the same thing. So for the About Us page, we need to do the same thing. So for the About Us mobile navigation, we'll create a mobile navigation for the About Us, and the same for the login page, and do the same thing. Let's now deal with the mobile navigation for the About Us page and the login page. So for that, we'll just create here a mobile navigation. So in our About Us page, so after this nav, so we'll have a div. In the div, we'll have a class of mobile navigation like this, and we'll add it like About Us mobile navigation. We'll have a UL, and within the UL, we'll have an li, which has an a like this, and we'll have the home, can have the About Us, and the login link like this, right? Now in our style.css, we can add here, so About Us mobile navigation, the let's add the icon. So we need to have the icon, an class fa, lit fa bars, right? And the color for it is, you can say black. And now we have this, right? This this mobile navigation. The next thing is to add it on our login page. So we need to have the login. Just say login. Yeah, it should be a li. Where it is About Us. Let's wrap it in an li. Right, so now we have the login, and we do the same for the login. We can just copy this here. As it is the same, we can just paste it after this navigation. And we are having the login, right? So we can change the color of this login link. So let's make sure that we can have here when it's showing, right? We make it white. We can say here. So mobile navigation, show. We can say here about us, right? About us, mobile navigation. And then the icon, the color is white. Like this. And back to the login page. Like this. Now we need to make this responsive, right? Because it's not responsive at this point. So let's start with the home page. If you look at the home page, if you go to the home page, so we see that this is not responsive. Okay. So let's make this responsive. Let's create another media query. Just copy this. 700 pixels. So sofa row, text container, and the sofa row image container, which is 100%. And say sofa row, so ends of type, two. So flex wrap, you can say wrap reverse. And now you see that that's the second item will reverse, right? The wrap. So now it's going to be like the first item, right? So this is for the home page. Let's go to the about page and see. So it's fine. And now we can finish with the login page. We can say the login container, the height is 70 view height, and the right login container. So flex one, it takes the whole width. Right login container, the input width is 100%, and the left login container display is none. Right. So now we are having our login container. Let's even make this 100%. Let's say 90 view height. Right. So it has the footer. Let's see. We can have here border and pixels solid. Stay here. Border 1 pixels solid. Right. And this is for the home page. The about page is fine. So let's see, we can make this one right a little bit smaller. So the about us, the paragraph, the max about us. Can go back to the about and the paragraph. So we can have here a min between 90% and 1000 pixels. Right? So that way it will take either 9%, 90% or 1000 pixels, and it's responsive. Right? So let's go to the home page again. Okay. Now the last thing is to make this icon. Once we click this icon, to scroll to this section. And the way we do this is using a jQuery. So we have jQuery already. So we can just have here. So scroll icon, click. Once we click it, so we'll have a callback function that will target HTML and the body, and we'll animate it. So scroll top, and then we'll scroll to so far row, offset top. Let's make sure we are having it. So the ID, which is the scroll icon, and once we click it, so we animate it to scroll to the so far row. Let's see if it works. And you see that it's scrolling to that section. So let's try again, the desktop view, and you see that it's scrolling to that section. Right, so that's it for this tutorial. So it was about HTML, CSS, JavaScript to build a fictional small business site. And if you are a beginner, this project can help you hone your skills and become a better developer and understand how to use these different languages to have a functional website, right, without using any framework or library like Bootstrap, right? It would be easier with Bootstrap, but I just wanted to show you how you can do it without using these frameworks, right? These libraries. You don't need it, and you have seen how to actually build a site without needing any of this. All right. If you like this video, don't forget to press the thumbs up button and share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.